Oh, Cyberpunk, why do you keep slipping further away? All we want to do is drive around in Knight Rider cars through a dystopian future metropolis, hacking bad guys until they spontaneously combust and slice heads off with arm blades. We don't ask for much. With Cyberpunk 2077's release date pushed back again to the 19th of November, it's easy to get disheartened. But don't worry your pretty metal-infused heads, from the recent avalanche of new details, the delay is perfectly justifiable and even encouraged, because CD Projekt Red's upcoming sci-fi RPG is staggeringly ambitious. Following the first ever Night City Wire event, along with a generous 4-hour gameplay preview given to various media outlets, still waiting on that code, we've got so much more to pick through and dissect, from gameplay features, familiar faces, or simply how many body bits you can fiddle with in character creation.
Ready to get your cherry popped? Yeah, come on!
Well, we were just going to talk about a video game for 10 to 15 minutes or so, actually, but anyway, I'm Ben from TripleJump, and here are 10 more details we've learned about Cyberpunk 2077. Number 10. Your life path choices change your prologue dramatically. Considering Cyberpunk's role-playing roots, this may be the most exciting news to anyone worried about just how much RP you'd get out of your G. Unlike The Witcher's clearly established protagonist Geralt, complete with pre-existing traits and Gwent obsessions, your character, simply known as V, will be whoever you choose, allowing for a true role-playing experience, carving your own path through Night City. A huge part of this is assigning one of the 3 life paths: Corpo, Street Kid, or Nomad, and each of these origin stories fundamentally change your first few hours of the game, with different prologue missions and locations. As a Corpo, you represent Night City's equivalent of the ruling class, the corporations, and you'll demonstrate that power pretty early by landing a helicopter/hoverjet/Jetsons taxi on the roof of a bar, interrupting the locals playing basketball. Pick a Street Kid and you'll quickly be stealing one of the game's beautifully Blade Runner-esque cars, only to be interrupted by a fellow thief and then the NCPD. Whoops. Choose the life of a nomad and you'll be fixing up a very different car, get offered coffee from an unscrupulous sheriff, and shortly after, drive out into an unfamiliar location, because this ain't Night City anymore. Number 9. Escape to the Badlands. We already knew about the 6 major districts in Night City itself, that's the city centre, Watson, Westbrook, Hayward Pacifica, and Santo Domingo, but CD Projekt Red have essentially kept a secret 7th district under wraps all this time: the Badlands. If Night City evokes Blade Runner, then the surrounding Californian countryside is pure Mad Max energy, a ravaged wasteland stretching far in the distance, filled with roving gangs of nomads who own the roads with their vehicles of destruction. We've seen plenty of urban sprawl, so it was a nice surprise to get out to the country and enjoy the large expanse of land and small towns that lie beyond the city limits. Lead quest designer Paweł SASKO'S stated on Twitter that the Badlands will have its own side quest storyline and enough open world content to make it feel right. While the blend of urban and rural locales may take inspiration from GTA 5's map, the driving itself will feel weightier and less arcadey than the likes of GTA, and if you've been paying attention, you'll have noticed you can also drive in third person, a small beacon of hope for anyone put off by the forced first-person perspective through most of the game. Number 8. How many types of Wilson? There's nothing more cyberpunk than rocking some badass metal appendages. We get it. Hell, we've already strapped toasters to our arms and installed Roomba shoes in anticipation for humanity's next step in evolution. Get on our level. Cyberpunk gets it too, and the character customization is just as in-depth as you'd hoped for. You'll start from a traditionally male or female body type with a separate choice of male or female voice, one of several tweaks CD Projekt Red have made to allow for transgender and non-binary characters. You may even have more than one option for each voice too, which would be remarkable considering the amount of voice lines the protagonists will likely have. Your standard variety of nips and tucks to the face and body are here, including 6 skin types, 17 eyes, 8 eyebrows, 17 mouths, 17 jaws, and 35 different hairstyles. You've also got more exotic options, including 8 varieties of cyberware, 3 types of nipples, 5 pubic hair types, 2 types of peen, and 1 your vagina is beautiful option. Like a cursed 12 days of Christmas, that. Just try not to get any delicate bits stuck in your toaster arms, trust us. Number 7. New and familiar characters. Your character might start as a blank slate, but we won't have any shortage of colourful characters in Night City. One familiar face we see again is Jackie, an early point of contact for V who appears and guides the player in all prologue missions, no matter what life path you pick, although where and how you meet him is different in each path. We also meet a new face by the name of Judy Alvarez, who guides us through the braindance, a hugely popular form of media in this future that allows users to view fully immersive recordings of another person's experiences. Another noteworthy cameo is this big metal dude, otherwise known as Adam Smasher, one mean MFer who went full cyborg body after a workplace rocket accident that wasn't his fault. Minor lore spoilers incoming, so skip ahead 20 seconds if you want to remain untainted. You ready? Not only is Adam Smasher a rival to Morgan Blackhand, the personal character of Cyberpunk creator Mike Pondsmith, but it's widely believed that Mr. Smasher was the one who killed Johnny Silverhand. Which means we could be in for one interesting vengeance-filled questline indeed. Number 6. Cyberpunk anime set for 2022. This was quite the surprise announcement from Cyberpunk's Night City Wire presentation, but it's a move that makes a whole lot of sense. Less than a year after The Witcher's Netflix adaptation impressed fans by being actually quite good, CD Projekt announced they were working with Studio Trigger to produce Cyberpunk Edge Runners, a standalone story set in the neon-soaked Night City, to premiere on Netflix in 2022. Studio Trigger was founded by members of Gainax Studio, who worked on Neon Genesis Evangelion, and the new studio are best known for Kill la Kill, Promare, and Darling in the Franxx. That's Franks with 2 X's for extra cool points. This vibrant world seems ripe for unique characters and incredible stories, so the prospect of getting a standalone 10-episode saga with completely different characters on top of the game itself is exciting news indeed, and the cyberpunk aesthetics should translate well into animated territory too. The anime series will follow a street kid trying to survive in this tech-obsessed city by becoming an edge runner, aka cyberpunk. No confirmation on a Keanu-voiced Johnny Silverhands, but it's early days. Number 5. Gunplay, swordplay, and fistplay. Fistfights. Cool stories about cybernetically enhanced maniacs in a near-future dystopia is nice and all, but how does it actually feel to play? Well, pretty good, apparently. We wouldn't know. Call us. As we've seen in previous gameplay presentations, the combat strikes a fine balance between being slow and deliberate, allowing for tactical use of powers while making sure enemies aren't too bullet spongy. A headshot will still take down regular grunts, but you'll also have a wide variety of options for trickier enemies and larger groups. Or you can go entirely non-lethal with a variety of special weapons hiding the bodies in containers, Hitman style, to avoid detection. The Night City Wire event also showed us the scope of melee options available to you. One of the prologues presented is a fist fight against 2 people who is actually one person in 2 bodies, former twins who used cybernetic wizardry to merge their minds. Not that it stopped both backsides getting handed to them by V. There's a simple but effective block, attack, dodge system in place, and it seems the devs haven't neglected melee weapons with specific skill trees just for the up-and-close personal fights. Speaking of which, number 4. There are hundreds of perks. CD Projekt Red's commitment to making Cyberpunk a true RPG experience is clear throughout. The sheer number of skill options available is mind-blowing, enough for an army of different Vs, all with unique stat builds. We already know about the 5 core attributes, those being body, intelligence, reflexes, tech, and cool, as in keeping your cool, not Peter in a lowrider cool. Each of these attributes has 2 or 3 skills, which you can level by using them, Elder Scrolls style, and each skill has 2 or 3 perk trees, each of those containing anywhere between 19 and 26 perks. So taking a conservative estimate of 2 lots of 20 per attribute, and then quick maths, hypotenuse, and that's almost 12 billion perks! Oh, alright, it's closer to 200, which for a reserved estimate is still impressive. Like everything here, some perks may change. Pavel Sasko has recently confirmed they overhauled the techie skill path from last year, for example. Some of the cooler powers are without a doubt the quick hack options in combat, each of which will use Cyberdeck Memory, or Future Mana if you'd prefer. Party tricks include detonating a grenade, weapon malfunction, or overheat, demonstrated by our willing test model here. Oh, he's been shot in the face. Was he... Are we insured? Best move on, it's fine. Number 3. Pavel Sasko's Secret Notebook. We're not sure why, but of all things we can't stop obsessing about that mysterious notebook. If you follow the Cyberpunk events, you'll probably be familiar with Paweł Sasko, the wonderfully enthusiastic lead quest designer who showed us that making content for a massive open world involves note-taking. A lot of note-taking. Also, salsa dancing. Man, what a classy individual. Naturally, Paweł and the team had the pages of potential spoilers scribbled out, and even if they were readable, we're a bit rusty with our Polish, so we'd struggle to read it with our uneducated eyeballs anyway. But some Redditors have speculated that, rather than being written in Polish, it could be Russian cursive, a style which looks like a law unto itself, or perhaps it could even be an elaborate code hidden in plain sight. It wouldn't be the first time Cyberpunk have done that. Or maybe it's simply a prop version of the real thing, to deter nosy people like us, but all we know is you should look out for this notebook in Night City. A concept artist used it as reference material for, in Paweł's words, a psychopathic killer character. Oh dear. Number 2. Cyberpunk's high-profile gameplay influences. Cyberpunk makes no secret of how it's influenced by other successful franchises, building on popular elements to create its own unique experience. One influence is clearly GTA. You can own multiple cars or hijack a new one if your strength and intimidation is high enough. Commit enough crimes and the NCPD will be all over you, similar to GTA's wanted levels amongst other titles. It's unclear whether your criminal record will be different in each district, akin to Skyrim, but it's clear that this won't be a completely lawless land. The open world nature means plenty of side quests to dive into and dynamic crimes to solve if you feel like helping the popo. You'll also have a fancy futuristic mobile phone which characters will use to ping jobs your way, and you can have in-depth conversations via video call too, meaning you won't have to find a character in the real world to enjoy a nice chat. The dialogue system itself will take cues from titles like Fallout New Vegas, offering unique options based on your skills for more role-playing value and opportunities to solve problems your way. There's so much more to talk about with the game world, but we should probably address the big talking point of Night City Wire. Number 1. Dancing in the brain. It's not a macabre pastime for Surgeon Simulator enthusiasts, but rather the brain dance is the showcase feature revealed during Night City Wire, part memory recording, part detective mode that looks set to play a big role in Cyberpunk. We mentioned Judy Alvarez earlier, who is essentially a digital dream editor and master of brain dancing, where we plug into someone else's recorded memories, complete with all their emotions, thoughts, and fears. In 2077, brain dancing has become the most popular form of media for everything from video games to TV, and predictably in this grimy future, adult movies. In the gameplay demo, we witness the scene of an attempted robbery, not just in first person, but also in an out-of-body, third-person perspective. You can skip between the visual, audio, and thermal imaging layers to discover new secrets and interact with certain parts of the scene, like using a monitor to view the CCTV footage to discover who killed the armed robber. As it turns out, it was all a setup to attain a highly sought-after prize for Braindance, or BD, junkies, a flatline, a live death, recorded feelings, and all the equivalent of living and dying through a snuff film. Ugh. This mode will play a major part in the story, drawing comparisons to the likes of Batman's detective mode, but one that fits the tone and setting of Cyberpunk perfectly. In fact, it's already an established part of the tabletop lore. What secrets will we discover? Can we expect a brain-dancing free cam or photo mode? Can we finally see our rad hair from behind? So many questions. And that's our list, but it's by no means exhaustive. We'd go on for much longer if we could, but we're currently figuring out a way to cryogenically freeze ourselves until the 19th of November. Look out for more Cyberpunk news here on the channel, and let us know what you're most excited about in the comments below. You can follow myself and TripleJump on Twitter here, and while you're at it, why not support the things you enjoy by having a look at our Patreon. Finally, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. I'm Ben from TripleJump, and thanks for watching.